If you'd like to take a seat, please do. My grateful thanks to all of you who are here today, and I know many of you have your own particular connections to these amazing windows that we are revealing. We thought of creating 15 sets of curtains with 15 different sets of pulleys, and we decided that instead you'll just see the moment when the lights are turned on for the first time, but it's very exciting for me and a real privilege. We have for you this early afternoon some music, a chance to hear from me again, some more music, a chance to hear from Deborah, who'll be speaking about her father of blessed memory, Cyril, in whose memory and honour we are embarked upon this whole journey. And then we'll turn on the lights. Yvonne will be doing that. And then we'll have a chance to hear from Josh Baum and then Ophir Miller, who have done the design work. And we'll also hear the inscriptions read both in Hebrew and in English. And then we have a final piece of music, which will be from our masked Cheder choir. So without further ado, we're going to start with our first piece of music. It's variations on Hatikva. We are in this week leading up to Yom Ha'atzmaut, to the 75th anniversary of the State of Israel. This is a world premiere composed by, of course, Julian Dawes, and welcoming back to New London one of our good friends, Mitra Alistan. Thank you. There might be many thank yous shared today, I'm going to go first. Thank you to Julian, Dimitra, Alice, Tam for that beautiful piece. It's hard for me to express how lovely this journey has been for me, being right at the heart of it. And I want to convey enormous appreciation to Josh and to Ophir for their extraordinary work, not only designing these windows, but also being part of such a process of collaboration as we all worked to do the best job that we could. I want to also acknowledge Andrew. Andrew, Moore, give us a wave, Andrew, please. So Andrew has been, it says on the plaque at the back, consultant and lead contractor. That doesn't really come close. You've been a source of enormous inspiration and also expertise and wisdom and tremendous generosity of spirit and time, and we're very, very grateful. We have been blessed with the support of some amazing craftspeople and professionals, Patrick and Doug and Adrian and Ari and Aldo and Jason and Ari, and some of you are actually here today, and that's a real testament to the love and care that you've put into this project. When it comes to this project of designing, manufacturing and fitting glass, you've all smashed it. Sorry. And the team from the synagogue, we have a fabulous team of lay leaders who've been insightful and supportive and critical in perfect balance. Our chair, Abigail, will share a few words at the end, and Brian on all of council, both this year's council and last year's council, to our fantastic team of advisors, to Alan, to Jonathan, to Ben, to Jill, and from beyond New London currently, although we haven't given up hope, Andrew Renton, of getting you to join, and we're very grateful to all of you for your help. There are many donors who've made this possible, and we're grateful to all of you, but particularly to the Korns, to Yvonne, to Jonathan, to Deborah, to your family, and of course in memory of your extraordinary husband, father, grandfather and great-grandfather, Cyril. Deborah and Yvonne, when you came to speak with me about a project we could bring to this community and this building that Cyril loved so dearly, you were nervous about doing something that seemed perhaps merely superficial, merely about looking pretty. And we decided to go ahead, and I want to share two parts of why I think it was the right decision. They're actually ideas that, as much as I love these windows, have nothing actually to do with these windows. Firstly, you allowed us to use the generous donation that you've provided as a kind of challenge to us as a community, so that we come out of this project not only with windows, but so much stronger as a community, secure with funds that will have allowed us not only to redecorate the entire ground floor of this sanctuary, but also we have the funds to deal with the damp proofing and the unsuitable floor and the gents' toilets and a whole bunch of things that frankly it's much harder to raise funds for. You've inspired us and challenged us as a community, and I think we've risen to that challenge, and thank you. But even more than that, these windows are really a sign that shows that we care. When we started this conversation, we were still in the grip of COVID. It still felt scary to be inside a building. It still felt scary to come into a synagogue. And it wasn't at all clear what would come out of that strange time, and maybe it still isn't. I've never felt secure about the future of synagogue-based Judaism. Perhaps that's partly because I spent so much of my life in this very building that has had its ups and its downs. The values are very clear to me. The value of this kind of way of life is so dear to me, and I've pledged my life to this task. But these are strange times. And there is always this kind of nagging fear that this kind of Judaism, compassionate, passionate, open-minded, open-hearted, might find itself somehow in a world that didn't care very much about commitment. I have this nagging fear that Judaism, this kind of Judaism, might become something of historic, vestigial interest only. When I was thinking about that fear, my mind went back to one of my favorites of Rabbi Louis Jacobs' talks. Rabbi Louis Jacobs, who of course led this community heroically for well over 40 years. But actually a talk he gave in 1954 at his induction at the New West End Synagogue, before New London Synagogue was even a glimmer in our eyes. In 1954, Rabbi Jacobs said that Judaism is, of course, an heirloom, but he went on to say this: the analogy of the heirloom must not be pressed too far. An heirloom is set on its pedestal, admired from afar, and taken down only to be dusted off at close quarters at certain well-defined periods. This must not be the fate of the living Torah of Israel. It's not sufficient to leave Judaism on a pedestal and to pay it homage 2 or 3 times a year and to feel somewhat uncomfortable in its presence during the rest of the year. Judaism needs cheerleaders. Judaism needs people to say that this matters, that this is a vibrant, dynamic, exciting, comforting, celebratory force for enriching our lives, indeed being worthy of our lives, indeed being worthy of our lives of Jews. Judaism needs a community of people to come together and to say, we treasure this. We express our Jewish commitments by making this Jewish thing muhudar, delightful and joyous. And as we each do that in our own ways, we strengthen ourselves and we strengthen our community. And for that part of our Jewish identity that is held by being members of a synagogue with a beautiful building such as this is, for that part of our Jewish identity that seeks to use a sanctuary as a place in which we allow the presence of God to settle in our souls and inspire our lives, it takes spirit, it takes art, it takes skill, it takes, and it has always taken, fundraising and building campaigns and great care in design and construction. That's how the sanctuary was designed and funded and built by the children of Israel as they wandered through the desert. That's how the temple, both the temples, were designed, and the very first synagogues of Roman times, and well, every synagogue since. B'chol dor vador, in each and every generation, the question gets asked, do you love this thing enough to build something beautiful and celebratory that can hold our spirits and our prayers and our memories and our aspirations for our Jewish life? And today we, the community of New London Synagogue, inspired so much by the memory of Cyril, have a very clear answer to that question. Yes, we do, we say. Have you seen our new windows? Back to Louis' induction address at the New West End Synagogue. Rabbi Jacobs went on and he cited a verse from Deuteronomy, Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha kehilat Yaakov. Moses commanded us a Torah, an heirloom of the congregation of Jacob. The rabbis, Rabbi Jacobs taught then, note that the word morasha, meaning an heirloom, can also be pointed with the way in which we use Hebrew vowels to read mu'urasa, meaning betrothed. The Torah, they say, is not only compared to a bride, to an heirloom, it is compared to a bride of Israel. They thus, Rabbi Jacobs went on to say, anticipated Schechter, who, speaking of the need for a personal commitment to our Jewish lives, said that you must write your own love letters. That's what Rabbi Jacobs said in 1954. And I think that's what we've done today. I think these windows are our love letter to our morasha, a love letter written in glass to our heirloom as Jews, a love letter written to a way of life and a way of Jewish life that we love and tend and live in and pray in. To everyone who made them possible, thank you. And to everyone whom these windows touch the soul, open the heart, inspire in faith and commitments, in prayer and in community, know that that's exactly what these windows are for. They're for all of us. Love letters, of course, come in all kinds of language. Glass is one language and music is another. And it's our privilege to invite our member Chen Rice and two dear friends of this community to welcome back pianist Mitra Alice Tam and today on cello Ayala Gottlieb Alter to share one of the great songs of 20th century Israel, Lu Yehi, written by Naomi Shemer during the 1973 war. I say it's a song, but really, I suppose it's a prayer for Israel, for the Israel we would wish Israel to be, and the Israel that these windows capture. The lyrics say, there is a white sail on the horizon, opposite a cloud, black and heavy. All that we seek, Lu Yehi, let it be. Ve'im b'chalonot ha'erev, and if in the windows of the evening, the light of the festival candles flickers, all that we seek, Lu Yehi, let it be. like to invite Deborah to share some words of memory about her father.
Thank you, Rabbi Gordon, for giving me the opportunity to say a few words on this special occasion. My parents, Cyril and Yvonne Korn, were involved in New London throughout their married lives. And Dad continued to sit in his seat, and it was the same seat his father sat in when the building was under different management, and there were different stained glass windows in this place. Those of you who knew my father knew how much he loved this building, which was for him was the symbol of his Judaism. His contribution to the synagogue, however, was as practical as it was spiritual. He would often be seen with his work clothes on, with a drill in one hand and a toolbox in the other. He was here to fix a leaky pipe, repair a defective boiler, or reattach a bookrest. Or frighteningly, he was sometimes up in the eaves replacing those light bulbs. He also, for many years, was involved in building the sukkah. And as a child, I remember him sitting in the warden's box wearing his top hat. Over many years, Dad delivered a strong friendship and respect for Rabbi Dr. Louis Jacobs. And he always admired Rabbi Jacobs' work. And this resulted in, during his final years, getting involved in the digitalization of all of Rabbi Jacobs' publications onto the Friends of Louis Jacobs website. As a family, we are delighted that Ivor and Tirza are here to join us. Thank you. His other love was, of course, Israel, and his dream came true when in 1990 he and Mum bought their first apartment in Azarei Chaim, North Tel Aviv. These were never holiday homes. For them, they were second homes. They considered themselves an integral part of Israeli society, and Dad was determined to speak Ivrit wherever and whenever he could. And he continued studying and attended Ulpan into his late 80s. Dad had been a passionate supporter of the UJIA all his life, and Mum and Dad sponsored many projects, and ultimately they built the Cyril and Yvonne Korn Multimedia Centre in Shlomi. In 2019, they became honorary citizens of Shlomi in what would have been and was Dad's last visit to Israel. In 2020, during the pandemic and before Dad died, we were told that the centre felt that a lift would make access to the upper floors and the air raid shelter easier for people in wheelchairs and for parents with prams. So Dad happily agreed to fund the project and install a lift. Unfortunately, he didn't live to see the lift completed earlier this year. Dad loved to explore every inch of his beloved Israel. Using his large collection of Ordnance Survey maps to guide him, he would schlep us all from one corner of the country to another, totally oblivious of security borders, which led to some very interesting conversations with the IDF. Only this week, Mum and I found a photo of Dad with his trusty map in hand, asking a heavily armed soldier for directions, and totally ignoring the 3 large tanks coming over the hill towards him. Therefore, it is fitting that the beautiful windows dedicated to my father could depict the towns and landmarks within Israel, running from the extreme north by the door down there to the far south and Eilat up here by the Bima. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you all for coming here today for this celebration and to welcome all of those that are watching on stream and online. I'd like to also thank the other donors who sponsored individual windows. A special thanks must go to Rabbi Gordon for driving the project forward. Without your support and enthusiasm, we wouldn't have got to where we are today. Thank you to all those involved in making this project possible. But a special thanks must go to Josh Baum and Ophir Miller, standing in the corner, for their amazing artwork, and to Andrew Moore, sitting in the middle, for transforming Josh and Ophir's imagination into the windows we're about to view. As a family, we cannot think of a better way of paying tribute to my much-loved and greatly missed father. So, all that is left for me to do is to ask my mother to switch on the lights and reveal the Cyril Korn windows. It's not working.
Josh.
Testing. Okay. Wow, it's the first time I've seen them like this. Speak up, speak up. So, I'd like to say thank you, of course. Lots of thanks. It's been a group project, very much so. So I have to thank Yvonne and Deborah and Jeremy, Andrew, Uri, and Jill, Andrew Renton, Phil Ashley, everybody. And I also have to mention Rob Scher, because we started this project 5 years ago with my friend, and he passed away. So I wanted to just mention him, because he would have loved this. And a lot of you might know me, but I need to introduce you to my fellow artist, Ophir. She started off as my student in the Mitzpeh Ramon Art School, and we have the founder here, Mr. Wald. I think he might be in the audience, and Tessa. A bit louder? Okay, good. All right. So, one of the advantages of working with Ophir is she's actually Israeli. So she knows the geography, and she speaks fluent Hebrew. As much as I pretend to be a Hebrew wizard, I don't always know exactly how to spell. The first thing we did was to build a studio in my back garden to make paintings and collages to practice. Is this too long? This is perfect, right? It's perfect. We made paintings and collages to capture the feelings of the different parts of Israel. Because we knew it would eventually would have to be produced digitally, but we wanted everything in some way to have been made by hand. Which we photographed and we tore up, and we went to different parts of Israel. We then went to different parts of Israel to photograph and to capture the feeling of the country. But and we wanted the windows to be figurative, but we wanted them to be abstract, because really they are for you to continue to go on with, because I like the silences. because they're supposed to be windows into the imaginary Israel, what Israel could be. Because often the problems in Israel are like a failure of the imagination. And I think over the years, these are going to be for you to enjoy and to imagine and to imbue with your own vision of what Israel could be. So I'm going to invite Ophir to say a few words, and then I think we can...
Hi, I'm very excited. A year and a half ago, an exciting opportunity came our way, from which I set off on a journey with a man who is a friend, a teacher, a fellow artist, and above all, a great inspiration for me. It's amazing how much I've learned through colors and shapes in this project, and how much freedom I found in the imperfection of abstraction. And in the movement between abstraction and little details. I see this project as a dance between reason and intuition, between words and shapes, of simplicity and accuracy, of form and formless. They are intertwined, with patience and insistently, naturally and with a lot of thought, into this colorful harmony. Please. Yes, I will try. And to be here now and to see the result of all this process is like a peak from which we can look down on the way we paved with colored stones, where psychedelic sheep and mysterious woman walks, along with red poppies bloom and water flows in its great variety of form, from Mount Hermon to Eilat and all the way here to this synagogue to London. Thank you so much for allowing this to happen, for all the freedom you gave us. And thank you, Josh, for everything.
We're just going to read now the inscription. You'll hear first Ophir starting with the inscription at the north, and then two of Cyril's grandchildren will share the English translations.
Should I say the names? Yes. Okay. גולן הייטס. הפותח שערי מזרח ובוקע חלוני רקיע, משקה הרים מעליותיו. Again? Okay. I'm sorry. גולן הייטס. הפותח שערי מזרח ובוקע חלוני רקיע, משקה הרים מעליותיו.
He opens the gates in the east and cracks the windows in the north, watering the mountains from great heights.
The shores of the Jordan are quiet, and a tree faces outwards towards Damascus.
Wait, okay. He did the Jordan River. In Hebrew it's חופי ירדן שוקטים ועץ צופה פני דמשק. Another one, yeah. צפת window. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה.
Come, let us go towards Shabbat, for she is the source of blessing.
כנרת. יהי רקיע בתוך המים, ופני המים תכלת ואור.
And let there be a firmament between the waters. The face of the waters are cobalt and light.
גליל. ורקפת צנועה מבקשת להבריד על סלע אפור.
While the modest cyclamen asks to grow pink on the grey stone.
עמק יזרעאל. כתונת פסים לבש הגן, חוד אביב על פני שדות.
The garden wore a stripy gown. Spring was robed in joy across the fields.
חיפה. פינו מלא שירה קיים, ראשך עלייך ככרמל.
Our mouths were full of song like the sea, and your head rose as the Carmel.
תל אביב. אקום ענה ואסובבה בעיר, בשווקים וברחובות.
I will arise now and go wandering the city, in the markets and through the streets.
ג'פה, יפו. לבקשה את שאהבה נפשי, ביקשתיו ולא מצאתיו.
I asked for the one my soul desires. I searched, but I could not find him.
Jerusalem Hills, הרי ירושלים. שערך כעדר העיזים שגלשו מהר גלעד.
Your hair is like a flock of goats flowing down from Mount Gilead.
Jerusalem. תורי זהב נעשה לך, מור ולבונה נחושת ואור.
Towers of gold we will make for you, myrrh, frankincense, copper and light.
Dead Sea, ים המלח. הרים הגבוהים ליעלים ושביל כבשו רגליי, עמוק בטל.
High mountains for the ibex. My feet conquered the path, deep in dew.
מצפה רמון. מי זאת עולה מן המדבר כתמרת עשן.
Who is she who rises up from the desert like a plume of smoke?
ערבה. ירח שב עטור הילה ותן מלא כוכבים.
The moon returned, crowned with light, and a basket full of stars.
אילת. משכני אחריך נרוצה, בנחל אני התפילה.
Draw me after you and I will come running. In the river, I am the prayer.
We're bringing up our Cheder choir for a burst of Oseh Shalom. There's a booklet that has been prepared which has all the translations and some of the information about some of the design details. Guys, keep moving behind me, keep moving across. So, some of the things that you'll pick up over time is that in Yafo, which is the one with the sea coming in, you can just about see the tail of Jonah's whale there in the waters, and there's all kinds of details that you'll pick up in the different painting designs, and that's all explained up here. How are we doing? Keep moving back. Keep moving back. Keep moving back. David, where are you going? You're going to... Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Rabbi Jeremy. Happy birthday to you. just a few final words from our chair, from our gallery.
We're not playing.
I'm just adding my voice to the thank yous that have already been given this early lunchtime. Thank you to the Korns for their incredibly generous donation. Thank you to our community for supporting the additional funds, as Rabbi Jeremy has said. Thank you to Josh and Ophir, to everybody that's already been thanked, Andrew, etc., and everybody that's been involved in this project. But I particularly want to thank Rabbi Jeremy for the leadership that he's given to this project to bring it from those first discussions to what we've seen today. And when the lights went on, I was quite moved. As chair, this is the first project that has been fulfilled. I'm now concerned about what we're going to do next. But thank you to everybody for coming today, for being part of this, for being part of our new London community. It's been quite something. And thank you to the Cheder Choir for I was going to wish a happy birthday, but that's been done. So all there's left is for me to say thank you, and in honour tradition, let's eat. So you're all invited next door to the hall for a reception. Thank you so much.